Fanfic Corner, Special Edition Fanfics, presented by Jennifer. Some Enchanted Christmas, a Dragon Prince Christmas fanfic, written and read by Jennifer. Winter had come to Callum, and the entire kingdom was covered by a blanket of sparkling white snow. This would be the fourth winter that Rayla had spent in Callum, and the second since she was married to Callum. The new princess loved winter, and her favorite holiday was coming: Christmas. Rayla loved Christmas ever since she was a little girl. When her parents had left to join the Dragon Guard, Runaan had made Christmas special for Rayla, and Callum had done the same thing when she had come to live in Callum. The white snow gleamed outside the Banther Lodge, where the royal family was spending the holiday. Normally, they would spend Christmas at the palace, but this year had decided to go to the lodge instead. This was because Rayla was pregnant and due to give birth to her and Callum's first child just after New Year. Nearly everyone at the palace, from the lowliest maid to the most senior member of the High Council, was fussing over her, and Ophelia was insisting that the new princess be on bed rest, even though the midwife said that Rayla's pregnancy was progressing normally and there was no need to confine her to bed. Callum and Ezran had thought that a change of scenery would do Rayla some good. True, she couldn't go ice skating or sledding with her husband and brother-in-law, but she could still build snowmen and snow elves with them and go on sleigh rides and long walks with Callum. There were also the cozy nights beside the fire, trading stories of past Christmases. They had only been at the lodge for a week, and already Rayla felt more relaxed. "Good morning," Callum said as Rayla made her way down the stairs. "How are you feeling this morning?" "Very pregnant," Rayla said. "I'm ready for this pregnancy to be over." She beckoned her husband forward with a finger. "The baby's moving," she said, placing Callum's hands on her stomach. Laughter drew their attention to the window. Outside, they could see Ezran, Zim, and Bate playing in the snow under the watchful eyes of the Dragon Queen. How Zim and his mother knew they would be there was a complete mystery, but when Rayla, Callum, Ezran, Bate, Runaan, Lujanne, General Amaya, and Commander Gren had arrived at the Banther Lodge, the two dragons were waiting for them. "In a few years, that'll be our child out there playing in the snow," Callum said as he kissed Rayla on the cheek and wrapped his arms around her, settling his hands on her stomach. Rayla leaned back against him. She could still remember the first, or rather the second, time Callum had brought her to the Banther Lodge. It had been the first winter after peace and had been secured, and Callum had wanted her to experience what the lodge was built for. It had been just the two of them for a week until the others had arrived. General Amaya and Commander Gren convincing Ezran that there were matters of state he had to attend to before he could leave for the lodge. Callum had shown Rayla everything the Banther Lodge had to offer. They had built snowmen and snow elves, had snowball fights, gone sledding. Callum had taught Rayla how to ice skate and spent cozy nights in front of the fire drinking hot chocolate. Rayla had felt off all day, but because it was Christmas Eve, she didn't want to upset everyone's plans. So she said nothing. She didn't think it was anything bad. She didn't feel sick, and the baby wasn't due for another 2 weeks. But by the time she and Callum went to bed, she was beginning to feel uncomfortable. At 2 a.m, she woke up in extreme pain. Callum, wake up," she said, shaking her husband awake. "What's wrong?" he asked sleepily. "It's the baby. I think it's coming." Callum was wide awake now. "I'll go get Lujanne and Amaya," he said, quickly getting out of bed and rushing towards the bedroom door. In what seemed like no time, Rayla could hear not 3, but 5 people making their way quickly towards the room, leading her to deduce that Runaan and Commander Gren had also woken up. General Amaya quickly assessed the situation and took command. You two, out. The princess isn't going to want you here, she signed at Runaan and the commander. Callum, Lujanne said as the other two men left the room, you can stay. I'm going to need your aunt's help with the delivery, so you'll have to help Rayla. Rayla looked down at the tiny thing nestled in her arms. After 5 hours of hard labor, her baby was born. The child was a seamless blend of both Rayla and Callum, with Callum's skin and eyes and Rayla's hair and markings, 5 fingers and toes, and the tiniest horns. She's beautiful, Rayla, Callum said, planting a kiss on his wife's forehead. She is. A beautiful little princess, Commander Gren said. He and Runaan had been permitted back into the room an hour after the baby had been born. What are you going to name her? Runaan asked. Holly, Rayla said, never taking her eyes off of her daughter. Her name is Holly. Holly slept peacefully in her mother's arms, completely oblivious to everyone in the room except her parents. Suddenly banging could be heard on all the bedroom doors. Callum, Rayla, wake up! Ezran called from the other side of the door. It's time to open presents! The adults in the room all shared a smile. 14 years old, and Ezran still acted like a child on Christmas morning. Callum helped Rayla up. They'd go downstairs and let Ezran meet his new niece, and then they would open their presents. However, Callum and Rayla didn't really care what was under the tree anymore. They had already gotten the best Christmas present ever. Okay, before I sign off, I just want to throw this out there. If any of you have a fanfic or short story, it could be either an everyday fanfic or short story or a holiday fanfic or short story, and you would like me to do a reading on it for Fanfic Corner, please send it to either my Tumblr account or my Facebook page. The links will be in the description section. Please keep in mind that if it is a holiday fanfic, it may not get out for this year's holiday, depending on when you send it in and whatnot. It may either be late or wait until the following time that the holiday comes around, depending on when I get it. A couple of things to keep in mind. First off, please be sure to include your name or the name of the author of the fanfic. If I can't credit anyone, I am not going to do a reading on it. Second off, please keep in mind that if it is long, I will cut it up into pieces like I do with my fanfics. This is due to the fact that my camcorder can only record up to 30 minutes. Third, and this is more towards the everyday fanfics, if it's clean, or please try to keep it clean. If there are if there's any parts or words that I deem inappropriate, I will gloss over them, and if there's too much, I will just not do a reading on it. This also goes towards like the Halloween fanfics and short stories. If they're like too gory and graphic, I'm not going to do a reading on it. And if there's some gore and graphic in it that I think is just not appropriate, I will also gloss over that as well. Lastly, please be honest. If I learn that a fanfic or short story was submitted by someone without the author's permission, I will not only take down all the fanfics that correspond to, or all the videos that correspond to that fanfic, but I will also no longer be accepting fanfics or short stories from that sender.